better? It's
Can
probably
we
the
have
same.
her check my
Okay,
IFB?
thank you.
Can she talk to me? Fix my stuff.
Did they say don't stop?
Today we dive into this week's top stories, how they were made, and what's new. This is Studio G's magazine, and it starts right now. Welcome to today's edition of Studio G's magazine. I'm your host for this week, Clarissa Lovett. Joining me today are Sherelle Moore, who will update us on the dangers of this week's windstorm, Ezra Malha, who told us about the teacher shortage in Clark County, and Chelsea Bangle will tell us who won the UNLV Idol Scholarship Competition. We begin our discussion today with one of the biggest things to hit the valley this week, the windstorm. Tuesday evening, Las Vegas was hit with something unexpected, a windstorm that caused 60-mile-per-hour winds. Some of the problems this windstorm caused includes power outages and freeway havoc. The police reported more than 2,000 power outages that were resolved the next morning. Also, many semi-trucks were knocked over as a result of the wind. As of today, only one fatality has been reported. However, many other drivers have reported minor injuries. The dust and debris in the air caused low visibility on the roadways. A few flights were delayed at McCarran Airport, and KSNV reported that due to the weather, valley fever has the possibility of spreading. Valley fever is a disease that becomes airborne due to high winds and heavy dust that is contracted by breathing. The wind seems to have picked up the disease, and it is not known if anyone has been affected. Sherelle is here to tell us about some of the symptoms of valley fever. Sherelle?
So valley fever kind of works. The diseases are close to like the common cold. So some of the symptoms include chest pain and a cough, and then you can also get like a rash, like a small rash. And then also you have night sweats and headaches and fatigue and joint aches and like red patches of skin.
So we said that we didn't know if anyone has been infected, but people really do need to watch out for this.
Right, so far it hasn't been reported if anyone has been infected, but with the wind that was like blowing through, it like can pretty much like they just want us to be ahead of like be aware of like on the lookout for what can happen.
Do we know like what to do or like what to take if we have these symptoms or anything like that? Was it reported?
So there's no vaccine for valley fever, unfortunately, but if you do feel that you may be like experiencing some of the symptoms, then you can be treated with several bacterial, like there's like antifungal medications that you can take for it.
Do you think with the big windstorm that it caused a lot of people to have their allergies increase? Because I know I've heard a lot of people have been having a lot of allergies. Do you think that's a big cause?
I think so with the pollen in the air, you know, like with the wind that was like blowing through. It probably caused a lot of people's allergies to get like way worse than they already were, especially in the springtime.
Absolutely. I have a little brother who like loves to play outside, but that one day I was like, you cannot go because it was so bad and he already has allergies. So with that there, it would have been, really worse for him. So I totally understand with that.
I get allergies all the time, and actually now they seem better than when the windstorm was actually going on. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I think it like blew all of the pollen out of here so that we have some relief for now.
That's weird because honestly, I feel like I did not have any allergies before the windstorm started, and now my allergies are getting worse. So yeah, like I'm starting to have like runny nose and everything. Like it's like really bad.
Well, hopefully you don't have valley fever.
I know, right?
It looked different because I have friends over in Dubai, and the couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, they had like a huge sandstorm, and it was something similar to what we had today. So it looked really weird to me to have the same thing here in Vegas because I haven't seen it that much in the past few years. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that haven't had like a windstorm like that in years.
We haven't.
So maybe it's like a global thing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again soon because I'm not ready for all that.
That's like the worst season.
Well, coming up after the break, I'll share my experience about roadway safety or lack thereof. We'll be right back.
My show is called Window on the Middle East, and it deals with all the issues that deal with the Middle East. Middle East is a very important part of the world. I grew up in America, and yet I'm from the Middle East. It's a commoner's viewpoint based on experience as well as scholarship. My name is Shervin Mushuri. I'm the host of the talk show Window on the Middle East at the rebelhd2.com.
The name of my show is called Perfect Music Radio. The music that I play is pop music, alternative music, a little bit of R&B, and just a drop of hip hop. Giving information about what's going on in today's society, technology, entertainment, not just in the community, but outside of the community. You're listening to Perfect Music Radio with me, Lily, right here on 91.5, the Rebel HD2.
Welcome back. Zero Fatalities is a campaign that is looking to reduce the amount of pedestrian deaths on our roadways to zero. Amid increasing deaths on our roadways, the campaign is having some trouble. Here are a few ways to keep pedestrians and drivers safe on our roadways. Since the beginning of the year, Las Vegas has had 17 pedestrian deaths on our roadways. That's up 88% from the same time last year. But with crosswalks such as these, with flashing signs and medians that force you to look into oncoming traffic as you walk, Las Vegas is looking to lower these numbers.
You're not actively looking for threats or dangers on the roadway as a driver.
Traffic Officer Kevin Barker has some suggestions as to how we can lower these numbers besides just the crosswalk changes.
There is a significant issue with focusing on driving and pedestrians focusing on crossing the road safely.
Police have implemented a system that they call SFTY. Scan, identify, predict, decide, and execute to add extra protection to both pedestrians and drivers.
Scanning. You're looking for threats, you're looking for behaviors, you're looking for not just cars, but the unexpected things that can come out into the roadway. And asking yourself, what are my threat areas, what are the potential dangers, and how can I mitigate those dangers along my path of travel? That's the identification part. Predict. What could they potentially do? What can that car in front of me do? Deciding. Now once I've predicted, if they move into my path of travel, I've got a decision to make. Do I stop and slow down? Do I speed up maybe and move to another lane? What is the response that I need to do to avoid this accident? And then execute. Execute that maneuver as safely as possible, whatever that maneuver is.
Many laws are currently in place to protect drivers and pedestrians.
We don't focus on it very much, but it is a law that requires drivers to slow down approaching certain types of dangerous situations, curves, hills, crests.
Wearing visible clothing or reflective gear may be useful in most situations except for one, drunk drivers.
The minute we, as law enforcement, pull a DUI driver off the road, we've immediately contributed to public safety for that night, immediately.
It is not only the driver's job to prevent these accidents.
I think it's everybody's job to prevent it. There's no safest place on our roadways.
For Studio G, I'm Clarissa Lovett. ZeroFataliesNV.com explains how you can prevent pedestrian deaths. So actually, I almost got hit filming that stand-up for the package. So it was funny because, well, ironic, not funny, but it was ironic because I was filming it, and as I was walking over to cross back, someone almost hit me. They came within like a foot of hitting me.
That actually does not surprise me because I've known tons of people that have almost got hit in that crosswalk. Like, even though it has the lights, it's still like, pretty much you still have to like be aware as a pedestrian.
And
where
the speed
cars
limit
are.
is not even, it's 35, it's what,
It's like
34
35
or like
miles.
30 miles per hour on this. And going through the street, you know students are going to cross anyway, so why can't you just be aware of like your surroundings as a driver Or on the other side, like we need to make like eye contact with the drivers or anything like that. But I feel like there's never going to be enough signs for pedestrians, or never going to be enough people telling you, please be careful, especially here in Vegas.
Well, and it's different because like the officer said, like there's no safest place on our roads. And you really don't believe that for a second until like you're walking and you don't see anyone, and then someone comes out of nowhere and almost like barrels into you, and you're like, well, I guess there really isn't, because I just looked and no one was there. Like,
I think a major problem is because everyone isn't always in a hurry. Like, it seems like they want to get to their destination. You want to get there fast. They don't care what, you know, what they pass through. They just want to make it before the pedestrian even crosses.
well, and it sucks because they put the flashing lights there so you see something that's catching your attention, and they still don't even care. Like, they're like, I can make it before they take those 2 steps, and you're like, no, you can't.
You know what's funny?
Please don't.
Remember that one, the crosswalk that used to not be a light, right little like down the street on Maryland as well?
Yeah.
I feel like this one is more dangerous than the other one. You know what? Remember?
that's true.
I feel like we had more accidents on this one right here in front of the student union than that one that never had lights before, which is sad. I'm just.
Well, maybe I think I see a lot more people crossing at the one across from the student union than I do like the one further down on Maryland.
So people are probably like more aware of that one, because like I know whenever I'm driving down Maryland and everything, if I like see the one crosswalk, I always like make sure I double check to make sure that there's no pedestrians coming, because like you're more aware of that one. Like with the other one, like you just expect the lights and everything, so you kind of just like don't even like try to look to see if anyone's crossing.
And I think if like you frequent a road a lot, you're not expecting people to walk out if they don't usually come. Like if by the time you're driving, if you usually don't see people, I don't think you're expecting them, so you're not paying attention. So you're just like going about your routine and not worrying about it.
So doing this story, did you find out what was the major factor of why we've had so many like pedestrian fatalities?
No, he didn't really explain a lot of that. I can take a guess as it's like speed, you don't have enough time to slow down. He said people are having a hard time focusing on just doing one thing. Like you're just crossing the road, but you still need to focus on your surroundings. You're just driving, but you still need to focus on what could be happening. And people aren't predicting what could happen. They're just assuming that nothing is going to happen.
What laws do you think that like maybe that they can implement to help get like pedestrians across the street safer?
I actually talked to a few pedestrians, and they were saying that they think there should be more classes that the DMV requires you to go through before you can get your driver's license. Or if you get into an accident, they think you should have to go through more classes and get tested more as you get older. Because as you get older, you know, some people have harder time seeing and those kind of things. So they want you to get tested more often through DMV so that things like that don't happen.
I wonder if classes would help with that, because sometimes, like I heard on your story, it was drunk drivers or distracted driving. So,
But I feel like
guess
that's a good idea,
it would
though.
help probably.
I feel like it would help a lot.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have any more. Coming up, as Ramalha teaches us something we might not know about schools around the valley. Stay with us.
Sunday evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on, just explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam, and I host Sunday Evening Jazz on the rebelhd2.com.
Through our events, we promote that we are a national service fraternity. We do service to our campus, to our community, to our college, and to our nation as participating citizens. Our cardinal principles are leadership, friendship, and service, and that you can have a great time helping out your local community and your college. We are the Alpha Zeta Upsilon chapter of Alpha Phi Omega, a national co-ed service fraternity.
Teach for America is an opportunity to inspire children to be the best they can be.
When I grow up, I want to be an actor. When I grow up, I want to be a police officer.
Give Nevada a brighter future by enriching our children's lives and inspiring them to achieve their greatest potential.
When I grow up, I be a scientist. When I grow up, I want to be a lawyer. When I grow up, I want to be a paramedic.
It really does make an impact in their future.
You can apply online at teachforamerica.org.
Thanks for staying with us. Pedestrian safety isn't the only problem Clark County is facing. Nevada's low ranking in education systems is nothing new, but what might be causing it? Ezra Malha tells us what could be a factor. Take a look.
The national shortage in teachers continues to rise. CCSD is facing its biggest challenge since 2005, with needing more than 2,600 teachers for the upcoming school year.
It's really a teacher shortage nationally, but we feel it most acutely in Nevada because our colleges and universities put out less than 800 candidates per year.
The UNLV and CCSD are working together to recruit more teachers.
We're developing programs here at the college that provide not an easy path to teaching, but a fast track, as you might want to put it. They can take an alternative route to licensure, be a teacher.
Troops to Teachers is really under the umbrella of our Alternative Route to Licensure program. What our Alternative Route to Licensure program does is it takes individuals that have a Bachelor of Arts degree in a different content area and then allows them to be trained as teachers in a shorter time period.
Although it might seem like a fast track, there are also some requirements that you have to put in mind.
In the Alternative Route to Licensure, you cannot enter the program unless you already have a bachelor's degree. So that's the first requirement. We also are trying another path that's a kind of a residency program where we're trying to help these people get their bachelor's in education while they're substituting or teaching in the school district. Then when you come in, you need to have some experience in a school. You have to have some knowledge of the Nevada standards.
You get intense professional development for 5 weeks, and within those 5 weeks you have to spend 3 weeks in a classroom observing a teacher and delivering lessons as you're learning how to become a teacher. But after 5 weeks you are eligible to be hired into a fully benefited position. Then over the next 3 years you participate in additional professional development and additional coursework to become fully licensed within 3 years.
The most positive thing in coming to Las Vegas to teach is that you have the opportunity to touch hundreds of lives.
Although the number may seem large, CCSD has accepted the challenge. For Studio G, I'm Ezra Malha.
As a substitute teacher herself, Ezra has had firsthand experience with the process of applying with the Clark County School District. So can you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
It was really something that I didn't have in mind before, but I started volunteering in one of the elementary schools because I know they needed help in classes because they have so many, not so many, but they have large classrooms with many kids inside. So a teacher could not do the job by herself or himself. So I started volunteering and helping teachers. Then they started a huge campaign with recruiting UNLV students. And they told me, here to apply and blah, blah, blah. So I applied and I've been working with them for at least 2 years now. It's been a really nice experience just being in a classroom, trying to help out with the shortage that we have now, because there are 600 vacancies, as they said. And for the upcoming school year, we will need 2,000 more. So they're doing everything to fill in the gaps and trying to get more teachers that are on track break, because we do have elementary schools that go year-round. So we have teachers that are, they're on track breaks. They try to pull them to take other positions that are not filled with a teacher. So they're doing everything to help out with this shortage, but it's not enough. We need more graduates or more teachers coming up from education college. So that's the biggest thing that we're facing right now.
So how do people get started in that? Do you have to have a certain degree? Do you have to have so many credits?
Well, now with this, with the program, the Route to Licensure, you can have any bachelor's degree. You can have a bachelor's degree from any college, and then you apply with the program. You get not a temporary license, but you get training and you are allowed to teach. But then you would have to go through, as she said, as extensive classes or training to get your fully licensed as a teacher. So it's a commitment. It's a good commitment, but it's also it pays off, and I feel like it's a lot less time spent in the universities or colleges than if you would go the original route to teaching.
What's it like working in the classroom? Like, for example, like, do you do only elementary, or do you do high school and elementary? Like,
as a substitute teacher, you're allowed to teach anything, and for PE you would have to have your CPR card. But other than that, you're from K through 12. You are allowed to teach anything because you basically have the knowledge after you would have to have 60 credits of college degrees, and so with that you can teach. But most of the time, if it's high school, they don't really expect you to do a lot of teaching. They have lesson plans for you and everything, but you would have to do some research if you're not really good in one subject or another.
So does Nevada provide any incentives for teachers to keep them here so they don't go to another state?
They're trying, but it's as Dr. Linda explained, people come here anyway as a temporary place to be. They don't really plan on staying here in Vegas for a long time. So that's the biggest thing. They're not offering any intensive or anything like that. So that's one of the major or huge issues too, because people don't really want to be here.
Yeah, I also saw last night that the states around us have a higher pay for teachers.
They do.
They do.
Well, hopefully we get a lot more teachers in this time around.
I hope so.
Coming up, Chelsea Bangle fills us in on the 2015 UNLV Idol winner. You won't want to miss it.
I used to have to do things, bad things, just to get by.
I was scared to come home sometimes. The gang knew where I lived.
Mommy said she couldn't afford it, but I want to be a singer when I grow up. I like singing.
I'm not afraid anymore. My life has changed.
My dreams are coming true!
I realize now that my world is so much bigger.
Thanks for staying with us. Earlier this week, we brought you the top 5 finalists who competed in hopes of winning a $1,000 scholarship. The 2015 UNLV Idol winner is, drumroll please, Jenna Lee Tamio. Check it out.
All right, so Jenna Lee Tamio is a soulful singer from Hampton, Virginia. She's known for her unique personality, kind heart, and admirable charisma. She enjoys spending time with her friends and family, playing the piano or guitar, and singing and expressing her creativity by creating and expanding a brand of her own.
I've been getting lessons and taking more classes on singing, so I think my technique is a little bit better than when I was 18.
You did a very great job. I think that's one of those songs where it's about telling a story and making you actually feel the words that are coming out of your mouth, and you can tell you're angry and you're passionate about what you're singing. It was beautiful. Great job.
You sang the song didn't sing you, and you could feel that you felt it, you used the stage, you had attitude, you connected to the audience. It was awesome. Good job.
This year when I got into the actual show, I was really excited, and I don't know, I just love singing, so this whole competition, I'm kind of excited for it, just being able to work with these girls and doing what I love. So.
Other than the absolute soul that you exude, you're also able to contrast between the first song and the second song, and you're able to you're able to do both so well and be able to change your demeanor and change how you communicate with the audience based on what you're singing. Great job, great job.
Thank you. 2015 UNLV Idol recipient of a $1,000 scholarship is. Are we gonna say his name?
Jenny Lee!
Congratulations, Jenna Lee. So here in our studio, we often don't do stories that are collaborated with other people. So how was that working with someone else?
So it was different. It was a great experience because everyone has their own perspective of how they see things. So me and her both separated our interviews. She did 2 of them and I did 3. And we created these stories, and the only challenge we had was trying to put them together because they were different, but somehow they were the same as well. So it was a lot of fun and it was a good experience.
And I know a lot of us don't even know that like UNLV Idol existed. So how did you even find out about it?
So I didn't know either before starting this, but I got a Rebel Mail email, like you know how they send them out, and I was going through the events, and when I saw UNLV Idol, I was like, oh, that's really interesting, and I read up more about it and how it provides a $1,000 scholarship for the winner. So I just thought that was a great way for students to showcase their talents while coming back to school as well.
I just have to say, I found out from the calendar or the planner that they give us every semester, so I don't feel bad about not knowing. Like,
I actually went last year, so like I knew someone who was actually in the competition, so that's how I found out about it. But yeah, other than that, like I don't know how else I would have found out about it.
Yeah,
how was the show this year? Since
it was great, I was expecting just to see them coming up and doing their little singing and then coming off, but they actually put in a lot of thought. They had the curtains draw, and it was all dramatic, but it was a show. So it wasn't just them singing and coming off stage, it was a whole production.
How many judges were there, or are they like UNLV faculty or anything like that, or how are they?
They're UNLV faculty, but there was only 3, and I think they were just randomly chosen because they were in different professions. But when they gave, because I put in a little bit of them commenting on their singing, and they gave great comments. They told them that they had a great show. Their tone was a little, because they were kind of harsh a little times. They said they were a little pitchy, but other than that, they gave good comments.
Awesome. I'm not sure, like we didn't see any audience. I'm not sure if I saw audience. Were there a good turnout at least?
There was a great turnout, and people were really excited. So when people would get those like, I don't know, attitude singing, when they went, the whole audience stood up and they were clapping. So it was a lot of fun and a lot of audience involvement. So
and then I know like last year, like the audience got to kind of play a part in the competition. Did they do that like this year?
Yes, so half of the vote, so how they chose the winner, half was decided by the judges, and then the other half was the audience actually filled out their tickets and they put it in the bucket and they were given at the end. And actually, the girl that won last year, she performed while they were counting up the votes. So they counted up really fast, and it was cool to have the audience take in as well as the judges.
Do you think that by including the audience, it'll draw in more people the next time around?
I think so, because it made it a fun involvement, and it made them more excited, because everyone's like, oh, here's my ticket. They're running up and giving it to them. So a lot of people enjoyed it.
That's great.
If you guys can go.
Well, I hope we get more people there next year, because it sounds like a really great experience. Those were our top stories from this past week. Be sure to tune in next week to hear what's going on around the Valley. Thanks for joining us.